Namo Buddhaya, the large sutra on perfect wisdom, the Satasahasrika Prajnaparamita Sutram, chapter 14. Neither bound nor freed. The equipment. The equipment with compassion. Emancipation. Subhuti. Because he is armed with a great armor, Bodhisattva is called a great being. Armed with how much of an armor he be called armed with the great armor, the Lord. He is armed with the great vehicle, the six perfections, the applications of mindfulness, etc., to the knowledge of all Buddha frame. He radiates light over the great usually cosmos and shakes it in six ways. In all infernal becomings, he extinguishes the great mass of fire, appeases the sufferings of all beings in the hells, and places all of them face to face with nirvana. The Bodhisattva then utters his message and pronounces the words, Homage to the Tathagata, the Arhat, the fully enlightened one. When they have heard the word Buddha, the beings in the house acquire some ease. Through that ease and gladness, they emerge from the house, are reborn in one system in which they see and can please the Buddhas, the Lords, and win rebirth as gods and men. The same applies to the beings in the animal world and the world of Yama. This is that the Bodhisattva is called armed with a great armor. Just as if a clever magician or a magician's appearance were to conjure up at the crossroads in front of a great crowd of people, the hells, the animal world, and the world of Yama, he would then make these beings hear the message of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Through that message, they would emerge from those hells, from that animal world, from that world of Yama, and would be reborn among gods and men. Would then that a magician or magician's appearance have made any beings emerge from the hells, from the animal worlds, from the world of Yama? Subhuti, no, O Lord. Even so, after Bodhisattva has set free beings and countless world system from these three states of world, no being at all has been set free. And why? For such is the true nature of dharmas, that in fact they are illusory. It is thus that the Bodhisattva great being who has mounted on the great vehicle is called armed with a great armor, the equipment with the perfection of giving. Furthermore, Bodhisattva armed with a great armor stands firm in the perfection of giving. By his magic, he conjures up the treasury cosmos made of lapis lazuli, conjures up a display worthy of a universal monarch, and gives food to the hungry, gives away garments, vehicles, perfumes, garlands, flowers, incense, ornaments, medicinal powders, houses, dwelling places, robes, the necessities of life, medicines, gold, silver, jewels, gems, coral, conch shells, quartz, pearls, etc. He then demonstrates Dharma to those beings, this very Dharma connected with the six perfections, and after they have heard this demonstration of Dharma, those beings will never again be lacking in these perfections until they know full enlightenment. It is that the Bodhisattva is called armed with a great armor. It is that it is just as if a clever magician or magician's apprentice were to conjure up a great crowd of people and give food to the hungry and thin upon the thing to those in need of it. What do you think, Subhuti? Is this magician or magician's appearance given anything to anyone, Subhuti? No, Lord. Even so, should one understand the actions of the Bodhisattva who has stood in the perfection of giving, and why? For such is the true nature of dharmas, that in fact they are illusory, the equipment with the perfection of morality. Furthermore, Bodhisattva stands firm in the perfection of morality through his acquisition of the power to be reborn at will. He is reborn in the family of a universal monarch. He then established beings in the 10 ways of wholesome actions, the 4 trances to the 18 special Buddha Dharmas. And until they know full enlightenment, these beings will never again be likened in the demonstration of Dharma. Just as if a magician or a magician's apprentice had conjured up a great crowd of people and had established them in all these wholesome practices, however many beings he had established in those practices, no being at all would have been established in them. The same is true of the Bodhisattva, and why? For such is the true nature of dharmas, that in fact they are illusory, the equipment with the perfection of passions. Furthermore, Bodhisattva stands firm in the perfection of passions. He instigates, exhorts, introduces beings to passions in the following way. On account of his first production of the thought of enlightenment, he puts on the armor thus: if all beings were to hit me with sticks, clods, fists, or swords, not even one single thought of rage should be produced in me, and also all beings should I introduce to such passions, just as if a clever magician or a magician's apprentice were to conjure up a great crowd of people, if they all hit him with sticks, claws, fists, or swords, nevertheless he would produce toward them not even a single thought of rage. And if he were to introduce these magically created beings to such persons, no being at all would have been introduced to it, however many he had introduced in it. The same is true of the Bodhisattva. And why? For such is the true nature of dharmas, that in fact they are illusory, the equipment with the perfection of vigor. Furthermore, Bodhisattva stands firm in the perfection of vigor. He instigates, exhorts, and introduces all beings to the perfection of vigor in the following way. Here, a bodhisattva, through attentions connected with the knowledge of all modes, is supported by physical and mental vigor, and he introduces all beings to physical and mental vigor. But all this is as though done by a magician with regard to illusory beings, as said before. The equipment with the perfection of meditation. But the man Bodhisattva stands firm in the perfection of concentration. Here, Bodhisattva, having stood in the sameness of all dharmas, does not refute the disturbance or non disturbance of any dharma. It is thus that the Bodhisattva becomes one standing in the perfection of concentration. And he likewise instigates, exhorts, and introduces all beings to the perfection of concentration, with the result that never until the time that they know full enlightenment will they ever again lack in the perfection of concentration. But all this is as though done by a magician with regard to illusory beings, as said before. The equipment with the perfection of wisdom. Furthermore, Bodhisattva stands firm in the perfection of wisdom. When he curses in the perfection of wisdom, a Bodhisattva does not get it, the not beyond or and the beyond of any Dharma whatsoever. It is then that he is one who stands firm in perfect wisdom, and he likewise instigates the source and introduces all beings thereto. But all this is as though done by a magician with regard to illusory beings, as said before. The equipment with gratitude. Furthermore, as a bodhisattva armed with a great armor, has himself stood in the six perfections, so he instigates, exhorts, and introduces to them as many beings as there are in each one of the 10 directions in world system, numerous as the sands of the Ganges. He demonstrates Dharma to them, this Dharma connected with the six perfections, and they will never again be deprived of the six perfections until the time that they know full enlightenment. But all this is as though done by a magician with regard to illusory beings, as said before. To the moment Bodhisattva armed with a great armor dwells with this thought centered on the knowledge of all modes, he gives no room to other productions of thought, like only so many beings should I establish in perfections in the wings of enlightenment, the Buddha dharmas, the fruits of the path, particular Buddhahood, or all knowledge. But on the contrary, he resolves to establish countless beings in those practices and their fruits, the equivalent with insight. But all this is as though done by a magician with regard to illusory beings as stand before, and why? For such is the true nature of dharmas, that in fact they are illusory. Subhuti. As I understand the meaning of the Lord's teachings, as certainly not armed with an armor should this bodhisattva, this great being, be known on account of the emptiness of all marks. And why? Because their form is empty of form, and so for all dharmas up to the Buddha dharmas. The Bodhisattva is empty of the Bodhisattva, and the armor of the great vehicle is also empty of the armor of the great vehicle. By this method, should the Bodhisattva be known as not armed with an armor, the Lord. So it is Subhuti, as you say. And why? Because the knowledge of all modes is not made or unmade, but is in fact unaffected. Those beings also, for the sake of whom a Bodhisattva is armed with a great armor, are not made or unmade, but are in fact unaffected. Subhuti. For what reason is that so, the Lord? On account of their impossibility of apprehending a marker, perform, etc., does not make, nor unmake, nor effect anything, because absolutely all these dharmas do not exist, are not apprehended. The same is true of self, being soul, person, personality, to one who sees of a dream an echo, a reflection of the moon and water, a reflected image, a mirage, and an apparition of the 18 kinds of emptiness, the 37 wings of enlightenment, etc., the Buddha dharmas of suchness, etc., and on the knowledge of all modes. It is for this reason that knowledge of all modes is not made or unmade, but in fact unaffected, and so are those beings for those sake. A bodhisattva is armed with a great armor. It is that a bodhisattva is called armed with a great armor, the equipment with the combination of insight and quietude. Subhuti. As I understand the meaning of the Lord's teachings, form, etc., is neither bound nor freed. Purna. You say, Subhuti, that form, etc., is neither bound nor freed. Subhuti. So it is Purna. Purna. What then is that form, etc., which is neither bound nor freed? Subhuti. That form, etc., which is like a dream, like an echo, a mock show, a mirage, a reflection of the moon and water, an apparition, that is neither bound nor freed. Even so, form, etc., which is past, future, or present, is neither bound nor freed. And why? Because of the non-beingness of form, etc. Even so, form, etc., whether it be wholesome or unwholesome, defiled or undefiled, tainted or untainted, with or without, offloads, worldly or supramundane, defiled or purified, is neither bound nor freed on account of its non beingness, its isolatedness, its quiet calm, its emptiness, singleness, wishlessness, because it has not been brought together or produced. And that is true of all dharmas. It is that a bodhisattva, a great being, and in the bound of read, and in the art that seeks perfections, etc., to the knowledge of all modes, the beings also whom he will lead to nirvana are neither bound nor freed, and neither are the Buddha fields which he will purify, the Buddhas, the Lords whom he will honor, the Dharma which he will hear, and the fact that he will never again be deprived of the Buddhas, the Lords, or of the superknowledges, the five eyes, etc. Also, that is neither bound nor freed. Neither bound nor freed, he will produce a knowledge of the modes of the path, which is neither bound nor freed. He will understand a knowledge of all modes, which is neither bound nor freed. He will turn the will of Dharma, which is neither bound nor freed, and he will, through the three vehicles, lead to nirvana beings who are neither bound nor freed. It is that the Bodhisattva, neither bound nor freed by the six perfections, will fully know all dharmas, on account of